Alrighty. Let's make sure everything's good. This is a coupled multi-purpose. Everything should be up and running finally on my end without any problems. But I wanted to go over some other things today. First and foremost, what's going on with the spoilers and everything else, and really what we have to look forward to if there is more to come for heavy hitters that we just didn't realize. Because as of right now, the amount of cards that are in this set, I think it's over here, here it is 255 cards. So we have 255 cards in the set, and FabDB is showing that they have 255 slots filled for the set. But what I noticed today, and which is why I'm streaming and doing everything else, is reviewing the cards. We'll probably go over a few of the cards that we haven't gone over since all the spoilers are out. But what I was noticing is this, and it really caught my eye, is on every hero on the Flesh and Blood website, there are still 1 to 3 cards that are unknown. Now, everyone may say, oh, well, they're just not cut up, and that's a possibility. But I wonder if these cards are in the starter decks, and we have specialty effects in the starter decks. Because the new cards are all here. Her specialization cards, gold tokens, even the full art versions are up. But yet, we have, for Kasai, we are still missing 1 card. For our Guardian, we are missing 2. For our Olympian, we are missing 2, very prominently right there. We are missing 3 for KO, Armed and Dangerous. I'm really curious to know if this is just not an update, or if these are cards that are yet to come out because they're in the starter decks, and we won't see them until the date. Now, I could be completely wrong. These may be cards, and they're just not cut up on the website, but that doesn't seem like a Flesh and Blood thing. Like, they're very on top of the cards that are out. When their website updates, it seems to be right on cue. Look, they have everything else. The full arts, all the other cards, the specialization cards, all the new cards are up here. Pretty much on point. But we're still missing a couple cards, which we shouldn't be, because FabDB is saying that we have all 255 cards on the website. So, if you guys are here with me, please let me know what you guys think. I would love to hear if this is something that you guys think that is just a fluke on my end, or if this is actually something that is, legitimate, if you guys think so. Because this just seems to be a huge hint to me. Like, when they've done stuff like this in the past, it means that the cards weren't out. And as soon as the cards came out, they posted them up pretty quickly. Within 24 hours or less, these cards were on the website and revealed. So, I'm sitting here going back and forth on the cards weren't out, how this could be. So, while some of you guys jump in and come and chit chat with us, or give me your opinions after you're viewing this at a later date, please let me know what you guys think. Is this just a fluke, or are these cards that are yet to come out because they're in the starter decks, or they're coming out in some other way? Because these are still hidden. And I find that really interesting, that every single hero has them. All of the new heroes are missing cards. Oh, that's right. Goldmane is missing 4. Now, I don't see his legendary here, so it could be his legendary equipment as part of it. But why would that be for everyone? We have all of the cards out. And I think Victor Goldmane only has 1 legendary equipment and 1 other piece of equipment. Let's go check. Let's check Kasai. Let's see if she has her swords here. She doesn't have her swords here, so that's not a true hit. So, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you guys. This baffles me, like, hardcore, on why there are cards missing on this. And it makes me wonder if there is a little bit more to heavy hitters than they're letting on. Yes, there's only 255 cards in the set, which means in the box set that we can go buy, there's 255 cards. But are these cards found elsewhere? Are these cards important to play? Are these going to make the starter decks valuable again, which is what a lot of people are asking for? Hey, we want the starter decks to be worth something. This would make it worth something. If these specific cards are good and stable, these would make the starter decks stay stable across the board. Same here. It would mean the starter decks have value once again, which is something that a lot of people are asking for, because the starter decks don't really have any value. You buy them out of the box, and they're not really good tuned enough to play competitively at most events. Now, there's a lot of people all over that are playing special types of events where you literally are playing in some type of event where you only buy starter decks and you move on. And that is a potential, thing that's going on here. But that doesn't hold value for people that are going to buy 6 boxes. If I'm going to buy 6 boxes, I don't need to buy the starter decks. I'm going to get all the cards. This, if it holds true to my thought process, where it is a starter deck, then this makes the starter decks valuable again. Because the starter decks only used to be valuable when they had the foil heroes. Everybody wanted the foil hero at one point. So the way that you'd get it is you'd buy the starter deck and you'd have the foil hero, and then you'd sell the foil hero off, or you'd have the foil hero for your own personal stuff. This actually makes the starter decks good. If the heroes aren't foiled, but we're getting customizable cards that are keyed to those, these 2 cards potentially being in a starter deck that help him out, whether those are mentors, whether those are, and we lost the mentors. We got mentors for the very first set, have never seen them again really at all. Not that I say that we need mentors, but, these cards really could play into pit fight. And these may be even more heavy on that pit fight side of cards that are only found in the starter decks. So I'm really curious. I'm really excited, especially because KO, Armed and Dangerous, has 3 of these. I don't know. I really don't know what to say at this right now, everybody. I wish that we had a little bit more direction here, because I was just floored when I was going over stuff today to do a little bit of a video. But with that being said, we'll leave that in the past, and we'll go ahead and move on to, spoilers and everything that we haven't seen so far today. The Fabled has finally been spoiled. If you guys have not seen that, here it is. It is the landmark of the arena. As all landmarks are, you can only have 1 in your deck. It has Go Again, which is fantastic for a landmark in and of itself, and basically makes it so that all people at the table are valid targets. None of that craziness BS where I can only attack the person to the left and the person in front of me. The person catty-cornered from me is not a valid target. They are now a valid target. It basically makes it a true free-for-all, not just a back and forth here. So I love that in this card alone. But what makes this card even more fun is when it's on the table, it affects everybody. If a hero would be dealt lethal damage, basically if you kill somebody, that hero creates a gold token equivalent to the number of heroes that started the game. So if for some reason you guys decide to do an 8 pod of arena and have this card on the field automatically and you kill someone, then you'd create 8 gold. Now, you only really have 4 people, how it's most of the time done in pit fight. It's a group of 4. But if you decided to enlarge that pool to 8 for some reason in your personal home table and you dropped this card, someone could create 8 gold, which would be just insane in and of itself. And then it would get worse with each person that got to kill someone later on down the line. Because it doesn't matter if a player's dead. It's how you started the game is how you get the draw off of it, is how it's pretty much written and how it sounds. So a lot of really fun things. There's a few new cards here that I'd like to go over. One of the ones being, because, I have played a lot of brutes, so I'm kind of a brute lover. Not as much, I don't play them as much, but I have a lot of friends do, so I've got a, kind of a soft spot for brutes. But this KO card makes it so that KO is completely and utterly broken. It's specialization. You can have more than one in your deck. They should have made it legendary. You should only even have one of these in your deck. Roll a 6-sided dice. Gain action points equivalent to half that number rounded down. If you roll a 6-sided, if you roll a 6 on a dice this turn, draw a card. Okay, this is really important. If you've rolled 6 on a dice this turn, draw a card. Which means if you do a bunch of other actions first, and they have go again, and you roll the 6 at any point, when this card hits the field, you're drawing a card off of that card as well. So you're gaining anywhere from 1 to 3 action points and getting a card completely free. That's, I'm sorry, with all the other brute cards that you can pair this with for KO and tear limb from limb and everything else that's possibly out there, the ways that these are going to stack are going to be crazy. It's like Jones said, this is organized chaos. You are purposely causing chaos, but trying to control that chaos so that you can just destroy with KO. I really hope that he just LLs out really fast. It'd be hilarious to see, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't. Let's see, there's another card that really caught my eye. I think it's in Guardian that I wanted to go over. Oh yeah, this legendary. Oh, just gorgeous. Iron Wall. Gauntlets of Iron Wall. When this defends the next attack, an attack would gain, if the attack would gain power, this card on this chain link, instead it gains that much -1. Now, I'm really curious to see how this stacks. Let me see if I can read that a little better for everybody, since I'm having to do all the reading today. When this defends, the next time an attack would gain power, this chain link, instead, it gains that much -1. So I want to know, if I block something that's being ramped, does this technically hit that card? Or does it just affect the next card on the link? Or also, does it affect if someone tries to ramp? I'm assuming it would affect if someone tried to ramp with an attack reaction. So, in essence, you're getting a 3 block power out of this. If you can pull it off correctly, you can get a total of a 5 block power out of this. Meaning that it blocks 2, blocks 1, but each time it blocks, you could be negating that attack down by 1, making it a total of +5 to your health if utilized properly. That's insane. And I want you to know how insane that is, because Guardians already have a fridge that is just impossible to chew through. And there really hasn't been a set of gauntlets for my Valda deck that I love to run, but this makes it amazing. That makes me want to have this legendary for Valda. So that's a really, really nice, just caught my eye of a card that we hadn't seen yet going out. There's a lot of other really cool cards. I think there was one in Warrior 2 that was just broken. I know we talked about the Hood of Red Sand being a little bit broken, as well as Red Hot potentially, depending on how rulings lay out, it being broken. Oh, it's a generic. It's not a warrior. They're down here. The generic cards in this whole fiasco are just, I'm in love with. So, first off, we have this lovely thing that I can't remember if we went over, but if we didn't, it's one of my highlight cards from the set that I love, because I love cards like this. When this attacks, it gets X. When X is the number of defending cards on the combat chain. So if you haven't broken the chain, they've blocked with the entire hand, this goes from a 2 to a 6. And if we're talking KO, who drew up to 6 cards, blocks with all 6 cards in that hand, this would bump to an 8. This is ridiculous. It's completely free to play. You can't go after it, but this is a really cool card. I think this will go in certain decks that have a very specific play style, but this is one of my shout-out cards as one of my favorite cards in the entire set. Also, other really cool cards from the generics. I just love the artwork and kind of what this card is. Pay up. When this defends, if defending hero controls a gold, this gets overpowered. Beautiful. You have a gold. I play this, which means you can only block with one action card from hand. When this hits, gain control of the gold token they control. If you don't, deal 1 damage to them. So, really, really cool. Basically, if you're hitting them, you gain control of it. If you don't deal 1 damage to them, you don't get it. Pretty nice effect. Interesting with how all of Pit Fight's going to be, which is where everybody's trying to create gold and may not be able to use it in the same turn. I feel like this is going to be a really heavy leveraged card in the Pit Fight scenario. Hence why it's a Majestic. So, really, really cool aspect on a card. This one is interesting. I also liked it, but I also didn't like it. Kind of how it's worded is what got to me on this specific card. When an opponent affects, puts this into the graveyard from anywhere, create all of these tokens. So this is a card that you'd want to arsenal on the hopes that they destroy your arsenal, is kind of how I look at it. Or have it in your hand hoping for it to be discarded. That's what you're wanting. You're wanting someone to pick this card to discard it out of your hand to the trash pile, and or blow up your arsenal, kicking it to the trash pile, allowing you to basically have 1 resource, go again on your next attack, and all of that. If you're talking about using it that way, this is a really interesting card, and for Pit Fight, it might see some interesting play. But overall, I don't really see the usefulness of this card, because there's not a lot of decks, in my opinion, that you're going to get to leverage this full capability out of. You're normally just going to be attacking for 2 with it. So, if you have a deck that's attacking for 2, it might be okay. But other than that, not really. Once again, another card similar to the last one. I like and dislike it because of what it does. It lets you look at your target opponent's hand and the top card of their deck. So we get to know what their hand is and what the top card of their deck is, which means we kind of see what they're going to be potentially doing and potentially setting up for next turn. And if it's played from Arsenal, we draw a card. The best part of that card, in my opinion, is if it's played from Arsenal, draw a card. Technically looking at someone's hand, unless you're able to affect that hand in the same instant, it's not going to do you a world of good for most people and how they play. Now, someone can prove me wrong, and I would be loved to be proved wrong on this card, because I do like this card overall as well. I think that... Oh, yeah, and then we get to a couple new cards. So, first and foremost, I love ninja cards. I'm going to mention this card, even though I think it is a completely garbage card, because it has combo. I can't get around that. I do not like combo cards. I think combo cards are horrible. But here's a new one if you love combo and you use combo cards in your ninja decks. Your next attacks, so all attacks with combo, get +1 this turn. Banish the top card of your deck. If it has combo in its name, you may play it this turn. Go again. So, free card to play, hit the battlefield. If I need to pitch it, it's got a blue. It's a great pitch cost. It's a very well-rounded card. I just wish it removed the word combo and just said ninja cards. Gain +1 this turn. Some people would say that's broken. I really don't think it is. If you think it's broken, then go play ninjas quite a bit, and you will probably agree with me, more or less. So, also, this is a really interesting card. And if it was worded slightly different, it would be amazing in PvE. I mean, it would be off-the-walls bonker for PvE for certain wizard decks. But because of how it's worded, it's really only meant for Pit Fight. Deal 1 arcane damage to each opposing hero. Create a ponder token for each hero dealt damage this way. Fabulous as all get out. But if this just said deal 1 damage to each hero, you could play this in PvE, purposely getting prepared to play cards that are base damage off of how much arcane damage you've done this turn, and hit all of your allies dealing more arcane damage. I mean, this would be basically, I'm going to stab all of my allies to gain more power. But it would be insanely funny. But because of how it's worded, you can't do it. It's opposing heroes, which means they got to be fighting you. So, unfortunately, we don't get to shock our allies to then shock the crap out of the boss. But it would be fun that way for PvE. So, that's pretty much what I wanted to go over today. Here and there. Oh, for all of the mech players out there, I am not a mech player. You got a new card as well. I love the border on this card, though. We'll go through this one last giant reading text pull for me. If you have a brass arm equipment, transform it into this equipment. Cool. This. Put it under this in your arm zone. Okay, so you get to put that equipment under this card. I think that's how that works. I'm not a big mech player, so anybody that's a mech player, please correct me. When this defends, you may destroy a card under it. If you do, gain control of target item with cost. That's actually really nice. 0 or 1. Controlled by an attacking hero. So that's actually really good for PvE. This will actually help people play in PvE if there's people using more item type decks. And then of course it has temper, which, you know, put a -1 counter on it when it goes to 0, destroy it. So that's really, really fun. Potentially has some use in PvE. I mean, not PvE, Arena, you know. So that's pretty much all of the big cards that I wanted to go over. There's a few more that I didn't. I'll put the link to FabDB in the description so that you guys can go and find it to look over cards. There's a couple legendaries out as well. Instant destroy it, draw a card, activate this ability only on your opponent. Only if your opponent has drawn 2 or more cards this turn. Ooh, that's a new ability I didn't see. When the combat chain closes, if this defended, put a -1 counter on it. Create on this equipment. Okay, so we still get to put a -1 counter on it. It's not battle worn. Guard wall? If I don't know if I'm reading that. Guard wall? When the combat chain closes, if this defends, put a -1 counter on it. Counters on it equate to its defense. Okay, so interesting. I really'd like to know how that works. Like, does that, when we reach 0, does it destroy itself, or does it stay on the battlefield? So that's interesting for me as well, guys. But yeah, there's some other legendaries and stuff that I did not go over. I think there's 1 or 2 more just across the board. I hope you guys have enjoyed Heavy Hitters. I hope you guys have kept up with spoilers, enjoyed the spoiler season. If you haven't and you are going to go out to your events, I would suggest that you go over these just a little bit to know what cards are in the set, so you know kind of how you want to play at your events, because a lot of the higher pro players are going to pretty much already have most of these cards read through and pretty well memorized, so they know what kind of builds they're going to go. And if you guys want to play and be successful in those, then you're going to want to go over this as well to make sure that you know what's there, what you can do, and how you can best utilize everything. I hope everyone has fun playing at these events, because it's basically going to be a battle brawl of, 4 players duking it out till you get down to the final 2, and then it's a normal flesh and blood 2v2 fight or a 1v1 fight, sorry. So, like I said, it looks like a really fun set. I do, like I said, have some questions on, is this what I think it is? Is this just, an error on keeping up with updating everything? Or is there more to come? Drop your comments down below. Hey, good to see you, brother. How you doing? We think something will take counters off. Oh, that's an interesting thing. You think counters are going to be able to be brought off of... Let me scroll back down. Sorry, it's going to take you a second to catch up, my brother. Where was it? It was generic? I may have passed it. Let me find it. Legendary equipment. That is a really interesting thought. We have all 255 cards out, and we don't have any remove counters at this point in time. Where was that? So, here it is. We have some remove counters on some classes, but all 255 cards are out, and I didn't see any removing counter stuff. Now, like I was just saying a minute ago, there is a chance that we could get something like that here, because Flesh and Blood's website still has certain hidden cards on the heroes. Each hero has at least 1 to 3. I think KO has 3, everybody else has 2, and Kasai only has 1 hidden card. My question is, are these going to be in the starter decks? Or are these cards just Flesh and Blood taking a second to catch up? So, I really want to know what everybody thinks. I would love to hear from everybody on this topic. Is there more cards that we haven't seen that are going to be in the starter decks, giving the starter decks value? Or is Flesh and Blood just, being a little delayed and not catching up properly? Also, I've looked over most of the cards. I haven't seen a counter removal on anything. For most everything. I could go over everything again in my off time. Cats are being bad. They're trying to get into it with each other. Go on. So, we have that potentially gonna happen. But overall, I'm not sure. So, we'll see how it goes. But I do love everything that this set is kind of like showcased, has a potential to do. It really has the potential to bring, like I've said before, that feel of the original 2 Flesh and Blood fab sets back to the heavy hitter, let's just duke it out type feeling, and everybody, I think, is going to enjoy that. I think even new players that are coming into the game, or new players that have come into the game and are like, I don't know how I feel about this, are going to sit down at this set and just have a heyday on all of the different fun stuff that could potentially go on with this set. So, only time will tell if everything pans out left or right, whether we succeed or fail on how the set does. So, but I think I'll leave it with you guys with that. I just wanted to go over this, give you guys my opinion, let you know kind of what's going on, what's keeping up with. I think I'll call it there for a day. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Also, we are doing our community polls again now that I've had the time to kind of get back on top of that. I drop questions. Feel free to go to the community polls and, throw your opinions over there on who you think, is going to be the next top dog in the meta from these heroes, or if any of them will be, or who will probably not see competitive play for a couple of years out of the new heroes. So, I hope that you guys all had a fabulous weekend. I will be filming videos to post up gameplay videos tomorrow. Probably will be posting a gameplay video up later tomorrow night after I get my filming, editing, and thumbnails and all that stuff done and get one posted, so it'll probably be later that evening, Sunday evening. And then filming a couple other videos as well to make sure that I have videos for next Sunday at my normal noon posting time. I'm just getting back into the swing of everything. I greatly appreciate all of your guys' patience and continuing to stick with us and help us climb all the way, up to 500 and beyond subscribers. We'll catch you guys next time. Stay tuned for the content continuing to come your guys' way. We'll see ya.